What's the strangest way you've seen someone naked, that also wasn't too traumatizing or serious? I was 10 years old and my mom accidentally took me and my brother to a nudist hot spring. This was in the mid-90s. Anyway, we found out it was a nude place when we walked down a path and there was this naked man in his 50s standing, not unlike Michelangelo's David, holding his towel over his shoulder. My mom gasped and sort of stopped us short, and my brother, 1 year older than me, so 11, says very loudly, "Check out the balls on that guy." The guy turned toward us, proudly. And my brother followed it up with, "They're bigger than Dad's, 80s, 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 80s. The 80s were the echoes that filled the forest landscape for all to hear. The man looked very proud.
I was like 14, hanging out chilling with my friends, and my one friend, a girl, just straight up asked me out of nowhere if I had ever seen a girl naked. I'm surprised I didn't lie and say yes to seem cool, but I just said no, actually, I haven't yet. So she took me into the bathroom and got totally naked and let me stare at her for a few minutes, lol.
One afternoon around 2001-ish, I took a break from work for a walk in the woods at a nearby nature center. About halfway through the walk, I encountered a nudist walking the trail in the opposite direction. I honestly don't think he was expecting to run into anyone else in the park at that time of day, because at first he tried to hide behind a tree but soon decided it was pointless and resumed his course. At the awkward moment we passed each other, I accidentally blurted out the first casual words that popped into my head. "How's it hanging?"
There's a crazy mountain man who lives near my family cabin. His name is Fridge and he makes some great knives, grows a lot of his own food, makes wine and moonshine, and one time showed up nude in our yard to offer me a head of cabbage.
Friend's shower upstairs had an unnoticed leak in it that wasn't visible from the floor below. I was sitting in her living room, waiting on her so we could watch the Sunday game, when I heard a scream, looked up, and my life flashed before my eyes as I watched my friend fall through the damn ceiling and land right on top of me, alongside half the beep shower, and a couple gallons of water. I was far more traumatized at having the ceiling fall on me than her falling on me.
We headed to the beach with our 11-year-old son one day to find out there was a protest, where women were topless to protest the fact men could be shirtless at the beach, while they could not. I pulled my son aside and explained the situation and asked if the situation was too uncomfortable for him. He asked, "They're still wearing bottom parts of the swimsuit, right?" When I said yes, he let out a big breath. "I'll be able to handle it then."
I was roommates with a guy who was a worship leader at a nearby church. It was his 21st birthday, so of course we and a bunch of friends went out. While playing darts and completely wasted back at our house, he started claiming his testicles were the size of eggs. Of course we didn't believe him, so he got one from the kitchen and dropped his pants to prove it. He wasn't wrong.
It was a Sunday morning and I had friends visiting from out of state. We went to brunch. I was living in a 4-bedroom apartment with my college buddies. Anyways, we wrap up brunch and decided to make our way back to watch football. We just got NFL Red Zone. I led the way and unlocked my front door, which has a straight line view to our family room and couch. We all walked in fairly quietly, I guess, and there, in all of its glory, was one of my roommate's titty beep, his girlfriend, on our couch. His thrusts were facing us at the door, both of them completely naked. The first words out his mouth were, "Boy, you guys are home early, huh?" We all start dying laughing. Anyways, they run out embarrassed. Red Zone is on TV. They meet us on our deck for beers and more football, and my roommate just goes, "Man, that's Scott Hansen, huh? So hot. He is the host of the show. The titty beep couple is getting married next year."
My first G's way of seducing me for our first time was to get naked and surprise tackle hug me.
I work in NYC as a tower crane operator. I literally 10 minutes before seeing this thread witnessed a man in nothing but a towel take selfies with his BMW i8 and then change right there on the sidewalk.
Was camping in a super remote area with friends and got restless and decided to go on a hike. Friend's daughter, around 10, tagged along. The trail ran along a creek. We came around a corner and heard voices. I looked up and there were 5 naked men standing in ankle-deep water. 4 were pretty normal, but one guy was porn star huge. They hadn't seen us, so I grabbed my friend's daughter and tried to spin her around for a quick retreat before she saw. Too late. She gasped. All 5 spun around to look at us. I distinctly remember Mr. Horsecock's member whipping around in an arc, then bouncing back and forth from thigh to thigh multiple times. We retreated. Friend's daughter now loves to tell people about the time I showed her first giant dick.
Only half naked. Used to work at Target and pulled a few shifts in the fitting rooms to fit bras. Once I told a older lady, 60-ish, to just head into the first room and I'll grab a tape. I knock on the door a couple seconds later and she unlocks it and is standing there completely topless. I felt too awkward, social anxiety and also in very early 20s, to tell her to put bra and top back on, so I measured her still lol. Another time at Target, it was 24-hour shop just a couple days before Xmas. We were a large shopping center next door to a few restaurants and pubs. Anyway, a drunk woman stumbles in, wets her pants, strips off her whole bottom half in the middle of Target and pulls on a new pair of jeans off the rack, then vomits everywhere. The security guards escorted her after that whilst we cleaned up the vomit, piss and bagged her wet undies and jeans. That was memorable.
In the church where I was music director, organist during college, I took the organ service man to the organ blower room in the basement so he could lubricate the equipment. There, soundly sleeping naked on a cot that hot summer day, was the sexton, totally unaware that we saw him. I just quietly relocked the door and discreetly left so that we wouldn't embarrass him. The organ service man said he'd return another day during cooler weather to lubricate the organ, and that hopefully the sexton wouldn't be in evidence.
I was hanging out with a buddy and his wife one night. We were all drinking and I got a little too drunk. Was looking for the bathroom and stumbled into the wrong room. In that room was a naked girl collared, gagged, in a doggy crate. I was pretty drunk, but that was definitely what I saw. I leave and ask my buddy about it. They were pretty into BDSM and that was their live in BDSM slave.
I was in university and had just come back to my dorm after a night out drinking. I got to my room and I just felt something was off. I think the door was ajar or it wasn't locked or something. I distinctly remember the feeling of excitement at the prospect that a girl I was into had let herself into my dorm and was waiting for me. The feeling intensified as I went into my room and saw there was a shape under the covers of my bed. The lights were off and it was quiet. I reached the bed and pulled the cover back to reveal the girl of my dreams, only to find the stark naked body of my drunken friend who had bailed on the party and ran home.
I would say, old guys at the YMCA, who walk around the change room. Some of them will put their foot onto a bench so they can dry their balls after they shower. And with the older guys, their balls hang low and sometimes they have long gray hair on the nutsack. Got to be honest, the first few times was kind of off-putting. Then it occurred to me these guys have been walking around this very YMCA since they were 8 or 9 years old. So for that it was completely normal.
In 2000, I was in Berkeley, California. I was rounding the corner from Jack in the Box, and saw a woman standing on the street, wearing nothing but flip-flops and sunglasses. Not traumatizing but more like an okay moment.
I was at a friend's house with another buddy. We were in 8th grade, and friend's sister just walks into his room, takes off her shirt and asks us if we think she has nice boobs. We stare for a few seconds and say yes. She just turned around and walked out.
When I was a kid, I had a great uncle, my dad's uncle. He was a really nice old guy who was injured in World War II. Anyway, he visited one evening, and decided to spend the night, instead of driving home. Next morning, I walked into the bathroom and saw a naked one-legged man in the shower.
My friend's GF wanted help with a sore under her boob.
I found a naked picture of my boss's ex-wife in a dresser he left on my front porch. No, it was not awesome.
May your day be filled with joy and happiness. And please remember to subscribe to Upvote for the best quality content every day.